You're listening to That's My Story. On this podcast, we talk about individuals' life experiences. All these experiences develop into your life story. Not everyone's story plays out the same, and I've always been fascinated to hear life stories. These are the stories that shape us as human beings and what make us individuals. And I would like to hear the moments in life that made you, you. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to That's My Story. I'm your host, George Lugo. Today we got a very special guest, the one, the only, the host and creator of the Speakeasy Gentlemen, Josh Howshall.
What's up, George? How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, man?
Fantastic. Long time no talk.
Yeah, I know it's been like, what, a whole 3 days?
Maybe two. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. You know, it was fucking humid here. You know, I know it's hot over there. You said it was record breaking for you guys.
Terrible. Yeah,
rough,
garbage.
Man. Yeah, that's
what's this garbage?
It's super ridiculous. All right, so we're gonna jump into some basic info so the listeners get to know Josh a little bit more in case they don't watch the Speakeasy Gentlemen. So let's go with where you're currently living.
I'm in Spokane, Washington right now. I've been here since 2016. It's pretty nice, though.
Is it really that long?
It's been that long, man. Almost 5 years.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, that's crazy. I remember when you were just bouncing around still.
Yeah, that's I mean, if your listeners listen to Pierce's episode, that's kind of the MO for our lives growing up. So I continued that on for a while. Now I'm semi static right now.
Semi static.
Yeah, no, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. How many family members do you have living with you right now?
Like in the house, there's 7 of us in the house. I have the kids. You
have all the kids?
Yep. Sure do.
There's a lot of children, man. A lot of children.
Yep.
We're gonna jump into some because I know you're really into music, so let's go with favorite genres of music, not just one.
All right. My go-to is classical. So big time when I'm like reading and stuff, I have to listen to something with no lyrics, so I go straight to classical. Also when I exercise, it kind of feels like a serial killer type vibe when you're exercising the classical music, you know.
Very psycho of you.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know, it just does it for me. It just kind of relaxes me at the same time, and then, you know, with my relaxed state, I push myself harder, I guess. So classical music. I do like, you know, I do like rap and stuff. I listen to a lot of that. I've been getting into a lot of like Mac Miller. Never listened to him like while he was alive, R.I.P. You know what I mean? But recently I like heard a song by him, you know, just on shuffle or whatever, and then I just started getting into stuff. So I kind of listen. Honestly, I hop between every genre. I always tell people that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, tell me your favorite song in this genre," and then I'll throw one out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
For sure. Then the favorite band was Sublime, right?
Yeah. Growing up, it was kind of always Sublime. I grew up in Southern California. My dad was huge on Sublime, met Bradley Noel and all that stuff. And my dad was a big time surfer and stuff, so we just kind of followed through with that music. Okay. But yeah, that was big on me. Like the mix of like, you know, like rock and ska and reggae. It was fucking all inclusive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bradley Noel's he's buried not too far from me.
Yeah, in Westminster. I stopped by his grave before.
Yeah,
I used to ride the bus from when I went to Savannah, and then I moved over to Westminster. I used to ride the bus right past it.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you would think it would be, with like all pipes and bongs and shit. Bud Light,
yeah, a bunch of 40s, because 40 ounce of freedom. Yeah. Guitar picks laid down, all kinds of stuff.
It's pretty cool.
I don't know I don't know your favorite band. Who's your favorite band?
My favorite band, it'd probably be a tie between Gogol and Led Zeppelin.
Okay. I got into Zeppelin a lot in high school. Before that, I didn't really listen to them much. But
I didn't start listening to Zeppelin until I was out of high school, and
really,
I just kind of connected with it. Same, like I had never heard go-go at all until David introduced it to me. I was like, it's crazy because like two completely different genres of music.
I don't know who this David person is you're talking about.
Hey, some other asshole I had on here.
Oh, gotcha. Makes sense.
But yeah, it had to be a tie between those two.
Yeah, no, I do love go-go. As far as new music, honestly, I don't really know if I could pick one. Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm everywhere. You know me.
Yeah, I know you. And you guys have a dog there, right?
Yeah, a husky. I've always wanted a husky growing up, but I lived in Southern California. I always lived in apartments and stuff, so it's obviously you can't really get a dog there. And then when I moved up to Vegas, I wanted one, but in Las Vegas, a dog with hair that long, it's weather like fucking today. I didn't even know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got a husky. I was really excited about it, but they're fucking assholes. I don't know if you know that about huskies. They're total assholes.
I've never met one that was an asshole.
They're very destructive. No, they love people. They love people to death. So my dog, like if someone broke in and tried to murder me, my dog would just like go up and greet him and be like, "Hey, oh, what you doing? Murdering my family? That's cool."
You mean help you drag the body outside? I'll help you.
Yeah. But he's an asshole. Like we got a pool not that long. It's just like, you know, a tiny pool that the kids play in and stuff. They filled it full of water balloons and chucked them at each other, and then came inside to the house for a tiny bit and then went back outside. The pool was fucking just destroyed. It wasn't an inflatable one or anything, but he still managed to destroy it, rip the whole thing up, water all over the floor. And then I go outside and he is just covered in dirt, like, well, mud, I guess I should say, all over him, all over. He jumps on me and gets it all. He's just an asshole. That's just what he does. He just destroys shit. They're like we have a backyard so he could run around and like expend his energy. But if you leave him alone for even a tiny bit, he just gets so bored and overwhelmed with being bored that he just fucks something up.
Okay.
He's only a year, to be fair, but he's a shitty guard dog.
Yeah, he's still just a year old. So
yeah. We're teaching him, but I really wish he would learn faster.
Yeah, I hear they're very needy. That's the one thing.
Oh yeah, they love attention, but that's good. I mean, I have kids, and you know, Josh is all over him all the time, and he's super responsible. So you know, he's a freaking 4-year-old, and he's always like making sure the dog has food and water and everything.
Oh wow, that's really good.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Good. Yeah. All right, then we're going to move on to one last thing, and then we'll jump right into story time. Favorite alcoholic beverage?
Fuck. Why you gotta do that to me? All right, so obviously, like probably my favorite beer right now, Stella. Even though I'm wearing a PBS shirt, Stella's probably my go-to beer. I mean, I started at like Newcastle, and then I, you know, bounced around for a while. I was hanging out with like, you know, Stan, who's, you know, real plain, and I usually drink Bud Light all the time, but. And then I went to Mexican beers. I was drinking Modelo. Yes, Modelo, right? I was drinking a lot of that, but now I'm here at Stella. And then I guess I should do beer, I should do liquor, and then I should do mixed, right? I should pick one of each.
Yeah, let's pick one of each. That'd be
so beer, Stella for sure. Liquor's kind of tough right now because I do bounce between clear and dark. So I do bounce between vodka and whiskey, but I think if I go whiskey, I'll do Tullamore Dew, my new favorite. Well, actually, never mind. Fuck that. It's Scotch. I just don't have the money to buy it all the time, or you know, to $50 on a fucking bottle when I could buy a, you know, $15-$20 bottle of whiskey instead. So,
yeah.
And then mixed drink. Honestly, the first one that comes to my mind while we're out is a Long Beach. It's just Long Island without Coke because I quit caffeine a long time ago. So. Really? It's just it's without Coke, but they put what's it called, cranberry juice in it, so it's pink. So every time, I just like, you know, pinky up with my little
nice
my little pink drink. But yeah, it's good. It's just without Coca-Cola. It tastes the same.
I think I have cranberry juice. I should be able to make that tonight.
Do it. It's good. Yeah. Or an adios, you know, put you on your ass.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Have you ever tried drinking any of those like sugar-free, caffeine-free sodas?
Every now and then I'll drink a caffeine-free diet Coke. And that's been within this last year or so because that's really all I could find. I tried a caffeine-free Pepsi once that was not diet, which was great, but I can't find them anymore. After the can shortage. Remember when the can shortage happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find shit.
Couldn't find shit.
But my go-to, you know what my go-to decaf drink was, right?
You go
You
to
remember the
drink.
caffeine-free Monster?
Oh, I remember the cap, dude. Those
Yeah, Monster Unleaded.
unleaded.
Uh,
Yeah.
so they had them, and they had them for years, and I used to drink them. And then when I quit caffeine, they basically stopped fucking making them because that's my life, you know. But even after they were discontinued, a buddy of mine was in Pennsylvania, and he found 14 of them at a CVS during the recall, and he was like, he bought all 14, sent me all 14. And then Ricky drank maybe 12 of those 14. By the way, she drinks caffeine. Just want you to know. No, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Let's say 10 of 14 she drank.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm very comfortable with that number.
Only 10.
And yeah. And so I drank a few of them. I still have one left from 2014 still in my refrigerator.
I don't know if I would drink that,
I
but
know. I'm waiting for a special occasion. Crack it out. You know, kettle and Monster.
like a bottle of like Dom Perignon. You're like, today's
like, yeah, this is a 20-year-old bottle of or can of Monster right now. It just oozes out.
2014, excellent year. Like,
hey man, I still got it. I found out on it's like $50 to $100 on eBay for a full can right now. And I was gonna buy one just so I could drink one and still keep the other one.
it's an expensive can.
It was so good, man. I petitioned a Monster to do them again.
They should.
They didn't fucking assholes. I don't know.
Yeah. So what was the exact reason that you stopped drinking caffeine?
That's a great question. So Kevin, you know my cousin Kevin, right?
Yeah. Monster, jump in.
Yeah. So his he has two uncles that work for Monster. One would go around with like motocross and NASCAR and all that stuff and promote and marketing. And the other one, they flew out to the Netherlands. They moved him out to the Netherlands to help grow the brand and promote out there. Okay. But one of them, while they were still working in the warehouse, would seriously take like the fucking clipboard and write Kevin's address and send a whole fucking pallet of Monster to Kevin's house.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. So I would tattoo Kevin, and he would give me a couple. He would just pay me in a couple cases of Monster. So I was drinking Monster 3 or 4 times a day at least. I would drink it right before bed and go to sleep. You know, and I kept that habit for a few years, and then 2013 is when I quit caffeine. And one day I was working out in the shop in Las Vegas, you know, changing oil and stuff, and I drank a Monster that day. I think I drank a Rockstar at lunch or something like that. Then I went bowling way later that night. I drank a Rockstar and a Coca-Cola or some shit. Like I was just pounding, you know, like whatever caffeinated shit I could. And then I was getting real like lightheaded, and I don't know. I started getting real dizzy. I started seeing little white spots, you know, and it really freaked me out, dude. I thought I was having a heart attack. And there was a couple times where caffeine affected me like that, where I felt short of breath. So I felt short of breath, so I took an inhaler, which raised my blood pressure even more and made it even worse. Like, so anyway, I went to the doctor. They said that my blood pressure was kind of high when I went to see them. And I always just explained it away by saying, yeah, it's because I'm nervous or I haven't eaten this morning or whatever, just try to make excuses for it. But both of my parents have high blood pressure, you know, and my mom has smoked ever since she was like 12 years old. My dad smoked all the way until he was like 35 and then quit, but he, you know, drinks a decent amount. So I was like, fuck, I'm just going to control what I can. I still drink, but not super heavy. And I don't drink caffeine at all. I don't need that outside influence, you know? So yeah, that was it. I just quit cold turkey, man. 6 months, I would say, was really difficult, where I had to balance it by like drinking apple juice or whatever, just bring my energy back up. But after the first 6 months, I was good. Never thought about it again, really. I do miss the flavor though. We had a Red Bull event at my work today, and they were giving out free Red Bulls, and I was like, fuck, I wish I could drink a Red Bull right now. But I feel like if I had one, just pure anxiety would kill me alone. Yeah. I think honestly, like I'd be so anxious that I'd just kill over. I'd be like, oh, here it comes. You know? Yeah. So I just don't do it. I mean, the most I've had has been like a piece of milk chocolate, which has like, you know, a tiny bit of caffeine in it, but that's the most caffeine I've had.
Yeah. There's a very small amount of caffeine in those chocolate.
Yeah. Crazy. I won't even drink hot chocolate because that has a decent amount in it.
Yeah. You ever tried drinking decaffeinated coffee?
I did get into that for a little bit. There was one. It was like a cinnamon dolce latte or something like that from Starbucks, and it's super like sweet and cinnamony and stuff. Not a very manly drink at all, but it was fucking good. So that was this year. This was the first time I really had decaf coffee was this year, and I
Oh,
was like, that fucking coffee smells good. And somebody made a suggestion, and it was great. But
yeah. Yeah, I love coffee. The smell.
Me too. And that's the thing. I've always loved the smell, but I've never really liked coffee. Like in general, I just love the smell of it.
Yeah, I used to always love the smell, and then I didn't actually start drinking coffee till about 10 years ago. And even then, I wasn't really heavy into it. It's only like the last like 6 or 7 years I started drinking coffee like every single day, a couple times a day. Yeah.
You know, I to boost my energy every now and then though, I would dip. I guess that's kind of counterproductive, huh? But I did that a couple of times. I would have the light ones though, you know, like it was Camel Snooze or Snus or whatever, the ones that come in packets.
Pouches.
Yeah, and then there was a light one that I think Skull made. It was a Snus as well. Is it Snus or Snus? I don't know. I need an umlaut to know.
I believe it's Snus.
Yeah, but I would do that every now and then, and it would like give you a little bit of a head rush and give you some energy and shit. But I wouldn't keep it in very long. Like my buddy Stan will get a whole like fucking quarter of a can, throw it in there, and then he'll start like putting more in over time. Like he has both sides of his mouth completely full. Yeah, it's nasty, dude. So gross.
Oh fuck, that's so rough. Because then they have to spit that shit out, and then it's like it's the worst.
Yeah, and he sometimes he'll gut the spit, like just swallow it instead of spitting it. It's gross, man. I remember I was riding in his truck one time, and he was looking for a bottle because, you know, people who dip, they have tons of fucking water bottles half full, right? So it was like half full of fucking, it looked like, you know, iced tea, and he opened it up, and it was the worst smell that I've ever fucking smelled, dude. Even now it's like making me sick to my stomach talking about. Sorry for anybody who's disgusted by that. It was fucking disgusting, dude.
Well, it's literally old. It's bile and old chewed up tobacco.
All right. I don't know why I brought that up. Let's change the subject. That's gross, man.
Oh, fucking Stan Mo. That's shit. All right. Well, we're gonna jump into some story time now, and we're gonna start all the way back at the beginning. Let's do life growing up.
All right. Fuck, dude. So, moved around a lot. Parents were divorced like before I was even born, so I always kind of lived in two different places, you know. Or maybe I think it was a year I turned 1 year old or something. Anyway, they were separated. My dad always grew up, or my dad was always in like kind of the Westminster Garden Grove area, and my mom was in the Anaheim area. I remember bouncing around a bunch of schools. I know Pierce talked about it too. We bounced around a bunch of schools. We ended up moving to Moreno Valley for a little bit, and then I was always making stupid decisions. Like I was given the autonomy to make decisions for myself, but as a little kid, the decisions you make for yourself are stupid. So I remember I was in second grade, and they were trying to skip me ahead of grade, and I refused to do it because I wanted to stay with my friends. And my parents should have just been like, no, like skip the grade, just do what you're supposed to do. Because I moved anyway. So I didn't get to stay with my friends. Like we're fucking bouncing around. So who fucking cares? Just move them, you know? So yeah, they pushed me in that. They pushed me into track A at our school, which Pierce talked about, Westmont. They kept pushing me into track A, which was for the gifted kids. And then I kept going back to track B to be with my friends. And then, when I was in like fifth grade, I was school president, class president or whatever. And I was always wild, you know, like I would always do my own thing. Like I dyed my hair red, convinced my mom to let me dye my hair red. And then I walked into the bathroom, and I swear, you probably don't even fucking believe me here, but I swear it wasn't me. But I walked in the bathroom, and the fucking the paper towel dispenser was all like busted up, like somebody destroyed it. And then everybody said it was me, and I had to step down from being class president. Very first year Westmont was open, and they made me step down. They also said that I shouldn't be class president because I didn't have my natural hair color, and it was setting a bad example for everybody. What? And the lady was like this old lady with like this nice blonde hair. My mom was like, "Is that your fucking natural hair color?" uh, yeah, my mom used to fucking defend me like crazy, man. Like she used to always just be in people's faces all the time when they would fuck with us. But yeah, I mean that was when I started being more stable. That was like fourth grade. So before then, I don't really remember too much because I went from, random schools in Westminster, Garden Grove, Anaheim, out in Moreno Valley. I went to school in it was called Butte View in Idaho. I was bouncing around to so many different schools, and then when I went back down to Anaheim, that's when it started being more consistent. So we went to Price, and then I went to Westmont, Brookers Junior High. Ended up in Savannah High School. So it was all kind of the same people I've known at least for more than 2 years before I left.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that's when I started seeing more consistency and stuff. And then that's when I had my first real girlfriend. I was fucking 10 years old. I dated her for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So that was me. I was like one of those like early fucking relationship people, man. 2-year relationship at 10 years old.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And the weird thing is like there's always like repeat cast members in my life. Like there's always somebody comes into my life and then later on they just pop back in randomly, and she was one of those people.
Oh,
so
nice.
like she moved away when I was 12. It wasn't really even a goodbye. Like she just fucking got like moved away. And then 17 years old, so like 5 years later, she popped back up on like is when Facebook barely started, or MySpace actually. And then she started talking to my sister or whatever, and then we got like reconnected, and then we were together for another like 2 years after that.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Yeah, it's 2 years and out. That's apparently all that works between us two. But yeah, so I kind of had the same problem that Pierce had, like keeping consistent friends just because we moved around so much, and change was always something that I grew comfortable with. Like even now, if I'm in the same spot for too long, I start getting kind of itchy. I want to I need to change and start fresh. Like that feels so good to me, and people are so like afraid of it. And for me, it's like, no, I need that. Somebody give me change.
Yeah.
Like a homeless guy. I'm always just begging for change.
I'm always begging for change. No, man, that's pretty awesome actually. Because most people they get comfortable where they're at, and they don't want to change any part of their situation.
Yeah,
they're always afraid of change, but change is not always a bad thing.
Yeah, I welcome it.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit of change is good.
I agree.
Yeah. So I know you talked about your mom and how she always defends you guys, and like. Mm-hmm. So have you always had a really good relationship with both your parents, or?
Yeah. Growing up, there's always a time when you're a little asshole and you're mean to your parents and shit like that. There's things that, out of anger, either side of the relationship says stupid shit, but we've always been good. We've always been really, really tight and open with each other. Even when I left, I was like 14 years old when I left the house, and even like being semi estranged at the time, that we were always connecting.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean, even now, I mean, like there was a big kind of lull in the middle, but now like our relationship's great.
No, that's good, man. That's really good.
But it's mostly because, adulting. Like I was an adult when I was fucking 15 years old. You know what I mean? I was working 2 jobs and all kinds of shit. So I was busy. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I didn't have a car. I was 15.
Damn.
Yeah.
2 jobs at 15. What exactly?
Yeah. So I guess the statute of limitation is fine. So I should be okay to speak to this. So, yeah. So when I moved out, I was kind of bouncing around houses and stuff, couch surfing. I ended up with, Jacob, Julie, and Jade's mom. I was staying with them. And we were like, first I wasn't really allowed there. And then ultimately they were like, oh yeah, he's got nowhere to go. So they let me stay there. And then I ended up having Jacob with her. And, then I was like, fuck, I gotta be an adult now. And I couldn't even get a job at the time. I was 15 years old. So what I did was I went to the Anaheim Public Library, which is right next door to the Anaheim Police Department. And we took her diploma because she was old enough. She was much older than me. So she had already graduated. And I took her diploma and I printed out all kinds of different alphabet, like the font of Old English. I printed out a bunch of different sizes until I found the perfect size, cut out each individual letter, used double-sided tape and taped my name over her name, and made a fake diploma, hit like the copy machine like 20 fucking times until all the seams, like the lines were gone. And then and then I told him, I was like, yeah, I graduated, here's a copy of my diploma, and blah blah blah, and fucking got 2 jobs.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was working at both jobs at the Block, which is now called the Outlets of Orange or some shit.
Yeah.
But I was working both jobs at the Block. One of them was at I think it was Johnny Rockets. That's where I first started. And then I worked at Stephen Barry's, which is no longer there, but I think it was Johnny Rockets. And then a place called Moondoggies. Did you ever remember Moondoggies at the Block?
Moondoggies.
It was like 2 storefronts over from Johnny Rockets. It was Johnny Rockets, Candy Shop, Moondoggies.
And is that going towards the theater, or is it going to the parking lot?
Towards the theater. Yeah. Maybe not.
Was it a candy shop?
No, it was a pet shop.
Oh, okay.
So it was a Johnny Rockets, Candy Shop, Pet Shop. Anyway, so I sold dogs there, and that's really where I started my my hustling, my salesmanship. I used to sell. So the cheapest dog we had was like $1,200, and the most expensive was $4,000. That was an English Bulldog. Mm-hmm. And I was, this little 15-year-old kid, and I would, have families come in, or just, like couples or whoever would come in, and then I start talking to them and talk about the dogs. I'd force them to go sit down, and the dog hasn't been out of the kennel for a while. Let's bring him out. That type of shit. Yeah. And then I take him out, and then they'd be like, sorry. I of course the ones with the kid was so much easier, but they're sorry, honey. We don't really have the money right now. I'm like, don't worry about it. We finance through Wells Fargo. It takes 60 seconds for the application. Let me go grab it. Boom, 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 boom. And then they'd finance a fucking dog like a car, dude. They would finance a dog. They'd make payments on their dog. But I do it, and I get commission, like big time commission off of that stuff. So when I was 14, between my 2 jobs, I was making over $4,000 a month, and I had nowhere to put it. I had no car. Didn't really have to pay rent. I would take taxis everywhere I went. I would go to restaurants and tip $40 sometimes. Like I just had money like crazy, nothing to show for it. But I bought clothes.
Nice.
But yeah, I was
he is 15-year-old that I know of, basically.
yeah, it was crazy, man. But that's all I did. I worked. If I was off one day at one job, I picked a double shift up at the other job. Oh, okay. I was just constantly working, just bringing in as much money as I could.
So you got a good work.
That's it. Never fucking stopped working ever since then. I should be able to retire by now, but I didn't put any of that money away.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. It was crazy. I went from there to I got a fake driver's license. I got a fake driver's license, and then I got a different job working on cars. Oh, it's fine. It doesn't matter. The other company's under now anyway, so both of these jobs are no longer existing. Well, except for the restaurant one. What's it called again? Johnny Rockets. But anyway, that's when I started doing oil changes, and my sales experience transferred right over. So it's the same thing. People would come in, and I'd inspect their car and tell them all this shit they need to get done, and I get commission off of that too. Mm-hmm. It was at Easy Lube, and I was the only person there who was not a felon.
Oh wow.
The only person. Like the receptionist girl at the desk, felon. Like everybody but me.
Everybody but you.
Everybody but me.
That's great.
But it was great, man, and it was in a really nice neighborhood, so I was driving Vipers and like fucking beautiful cars that I'd never get a chance to drive. Classic cars, all kinds of stuff. It's when I learned how to drive a stick on customers' vehicles.
Grind gears in the park.
Oh yeah. I remember this one time I went to start up the car, because you're supposed to start the car, let the oil pressure raise to see if there's any leaks. And I started up the car, and I didn't know that they put it in first, because I normally park it in neutral and then pull the brake up. So anyway, I didn't know that they did that, so I let off the clutch, and then it jumped forward and landed on this guy's foot.
Oh fuck.
And he was right there next to the driver window, and I was like, oh shit. And the car's like stopped. And he's like, get off my foot. Like, he's like super pissed, and it's just stuck on his foot. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck was that? What happened? Yeah. Yeah, man. But I was like really good at selling, so they let me get away with a lot of shit. A lot of stuff. But you know,
you're like office.
Me. No, like there was this one time where I pulled the car in and I went to put it in park, but I didn't get all the way, so I put it in reverse. And then I open the door and I go to get out, and it starts slowly rolling back. And I'm like, oh shit. So I go to get in, I open the door, and then as I'm hopping in, and I just about to go hit the brake, and there's like a stairwell in between the bays, and the door was open, hit the railing, and like like, you know, like tweaked up like a Lamborghini door almost. It was like, and it was over $2,000 in damage, but they were like, fuck, he makes us so much money though. Nothing. They were just like, all right, don't do it again. All right, you got it, man.
You got
Not
it.
bad. But remember, I was this little, like, you know, 16. I think I was like 16 at the time. I got an ID saying I was 18. I was like 16 or 17. But I was just a little kid. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I think I didn't even have a driver's license at the time.
Like fucking Leonardo DiCaprio and fucking, what is that? Catch Me If You Can.
Exactly. Honestly, I mean, I was kind of a big hustler back in the beginning. You know, I was always like looking for angles and shit, you know, using my mind for bad instead of good. But I guess I didn't see, I mean, it's kind of where I grew up and shit. I just didn't really see another way around it. I was like, the way to make money is to talk people out of their own money, or, you know what I mean? Instead of fucking working super hard. I mean, I did both, but you know, my salesmanship was still talking people out of their money. That's how I got my commission. Is you have money in your pocket, I want it, I got to sell something to you. You know what I mean?
I got to sell something to you.
So that was just like my philosophy growing up until I, you know, got a little bit older and smarter and decided to work for it instead. But yeah, I mean, I came up with a lot of hustles, and I was always just doing something. You know, I always had a scheme to try to make fucking money.
That's good though, man. That's a hard work ethic. You know, a lot of people don't even have that. They're just like, oh, a lot of people think that they're better than the job they have, and it's like, well, you're not really better than the job you have because you can't even do the job you have now. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an honest dollar, but it's a dollar, right? But really, when I mean, it started getting to me though when I left Easy Lube, and then I ended up working for Jiffy Lube. And when I left Jiffy Lube, it was because I felt so bad about it. Like, people would come in and they remind me of my sister, my grandma, or my mom, and they have a $20 coupon for an oil change, and they leave spending hundreds of dollars because I talked them into it, you know? And I mean, there's times when you do that, you know, they don't really have the money to spend on it. You know what I mean? Like, this could be some of their rent, but you're just so convincing that they're spending it, and they're just agreeing with you anyway. Yeah. So I felt bad because I wasn't doing it. In the end, I wasn't really doing it out of greed. You know what I mean? I was doing it because I was like, fuck, if I don't keep like $80 average ticket, I would get fired. And that means if they come in with $20 or $10 oil change coupons, you got to get them to spend at least $80 or you're in trouble. And that's where I was like, fuck. So I used to, you know, I didn't do anything dishonest, but I would be pretty hard on the sales technique. You know what I mean? So that's why I ended up leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very convincing.
Yeah. You know, the devil has a heart, I guess.
Well, fuck. Let's move up to let's see. Well, I guess at this point we were what when you were
I kind of did a lot of things. So we talked about elementary school. We didn't really talk about high school much. There's not really a lot to talk about there. I ended up I mean, I was there for a little bit, did some homeschooling mostly after that. In high school, you know, at Savannah, I think I did 1 year, and then I went to Bolsa, you know where Bolsa Junior High or Bolsa High School is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I went to Bolsa Grande High School, and then I played football for them. You know, and I didn't even talk about this, but sports was like a big part growing up too. You know, I was in like little league and flag football before I could be in tackle football. You know what I mean? Like, that was a big thing that I did. And I was always like super competitive. Always had to be like the fucking best at everything. And if I didn't, it would like really affect my self-esteem. I was like, fuck, you know, like I remember even now, I remember in elementary school, we would take jump ropes and line them up on the floor, and you basically had to run and jump the gap. And then they just keep bringing the jump ropes further and further. And if I lost that day, it would like affect me for the rest of the week until we did it again. Like I was just so fucking pissed about it. Yeah. I was like super competitive, man. Like I remember we also did in like fourth grade, people would, they do like flashcards for math, you know, like multiplication, division and stuff. And they put so much pressure on us. So somebody would stand up, like the first person would stand up and they stand next to you. And if you beat them, they sit in your chair and then you get up and stand next to the next person. You could go, the goal is to go all the way around the classroom without losing. Right. And yeah, same thing. That's where I met my friend Merlando, and I was friends with him for a really long time. And he was just like, he was a year older than me, but he came straight from the Philippines. So they drop him down a grade, I guess. And he would just destroy everybody at math. I'm like, son of a bitch. That's not fair. He's Asian. I need a handicap. I'm just kidding. My biggest issue, I would like breathe in first. You know what I mean? Like they're like 5 times 4. I'd be like 20, and he'd just be like 20. Like he'd just beat me because I'd take the gasp. But anyway, yeah. Junior high, I went to Brookhurst Junior High, and I wasn't really that much of a troublemaker there. I mean, I'd get in fights and stuff. I kind of grew up getting fights all the time. That was a big time where I'd get in fights. And I remember right outside of Brookhurst Junior High, my name is still in the cement. They had like wet cement there. It's still there. I check like every time I go to Anaheim, I'm like, still there?
Is it still?
It's like eroding from the rain, but it's still there. You can still read it. But yeah, I had a lot of good times there, and I was, like I said, I was kind of really good at talking. I was always working angles and stuff. And there was a student store, and I knew somebody who worked there, so I talked him into giving me shit. So I'm like, I'm gonna give you $1, and then you're gonna give me 2 bags of chips, like shit like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I would go there with $1 or $2, and I have this buffet of fucking chips, and I'd sit out right past the basketball courts, and I'd open like 4 bags of chips, and then I'd just be like eating from like all 4 bags. And right, you're not allowed to have food from the basketball courts on, but I was able to convince the people supervising that, you know, only me and my friends were allowed over there, and they would enforce it too. Like they would basically be like, "Hey, do you know this guy?" I'd be like, "No, don't know him. Get him out of here." And they'd like take him away, man. I was just always, you know, that type of person.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, granted, there were a lot of people who didn't like me, but but you know, it comes with the territory.
The territory, yeah, that's the way it is, you know.
Yeah.
So what was it like in your 20s? So we talked a little bit about like your childhood, adolescence, and now that let's talk about your 20s and see what that was like.
So, I mean, having kids super young, I mean, I didn't really do a whole lot. I mean, I honestly basically been working since I was 14, 15. Didn't really have much of a life. When I was around the time I hit 18, that's when I started, like, you know, going to house parties and stuff, like when everybody's typically done with it. Like that's when I started. So I had some friends, and, you know, I like first time I was introduced to beer pong, I was probably old enough to buy beer, like, you know. But 20s were okay, man. I lived in Vegas right before I turned 21. I moved out there. That's when I met Stan. So I've known him for 10 years now. Almost 11 actually. But I moved out to Vegas. I was going through some hard times in California, lots of trouble. And my sister was just like, "Hey man, you got to go." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, you gotta go to Vegas. Like most of my family already had moved out there at the time. Actually, my dad, my stepmom, my brothers moved out there. Jessica moved out there as well. And she was like, "You got to go." And I honestly take her word over pretty much anybody's. Like, she tells me I got to do something, I know it's for the best. And I was like, fuck it. All right, fine. I said, "Can you give me like a couple weeks?" And she was like, "Yeah." And 2 weeks later, I was out, dude. I was gone. And went out to Vegas, kind of started fresh, started working, started getting back on my feet. And then that's when I started like flipping cars. I'd go on Craigslist. I see a car posted for $1,400, talk them down to $1,000, buy it, fuck with it a little bit, and then resell it for $1,400. Like I would just like throw it right back in that person's face. But I would ask for $1,700 and let them talk me down to 14. You know what I mean? That was just my thing for a while, and then I got like a legit job, and then I've been with that company ever since. But that was like the majority of my stability. Like Pierce used to call me all the time and be like, "Hey, where are you working now?" And I used to just like he didn't say like, "Hey, you still working where you are?" He knew that I was always working somewhere else. And even now I still bounce around like that, but I move around within the same umbrella of the corporation. So I hold different jobs. I've been to like 5 different states, 9 different stores in the company that I'm working for. So I still move around a lot, but it's still the same job. So it kind of counts.
Yeah, there's some stability there now, so that's really nice.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, still get to travel a little bit, but just a little bit of stability. That's
so
cool.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I met Stan, I'm a really cynical person. I don't really trust anybody in general. But when I met Stan, I was kind of like talking to the people in the shop. I was doing oil changes there too, and I heard that somebody, everybody knew about something that I said. So I was trying to figure out who the fucking snitch was. And so I came up with like 5 different stories, just made up stories. And I was like, oh man, just like fed these stories to all different people to see which one got back to me. And I tested Stan, and Stan brings it up to this day because I thought he was a shop snitch. And I told him, I was like, hey man, this girl that I'm dating just called me, man. She told me she has stomach cancer. She's really upset. Like, I'm really upset. And then first he was like, oh shit, you should get yourself tested. And I was like, you're a fucking asshole. but it didn't go anywhere. And there was somebody else in the shop who, just as soon as I fucking said something, it was like right back. Oh dude, I heard this happen to you. You know what I mean? Like immediately. So I didn't like Stan at first, kind of because of that. And he was egotistical. So I thought he was a snitch, and he was just like so full of himself. I'm like, fuck you, dude, But the time we ended up being friends is he was like, dude, I'm so excited. My 21st birthday is coming up. And I was like, oh shit, mine too. And he was like, really? When? And I said, August. He was like, mine too. And he was like, when, what, August, what day? And I said, the 25th. And as I was like 20, he was like, ah. And then I said 5th. He's like, ah, fuck. And I'm like, really? When's yours? He's like the 24th. so his birthday, his 21st birthday was the day before mine. So that was probably like, I don't know, maybe April. So it was still 4 months out. And over the course of time, we started, I started making more friends, and he was my friend, and all these people were excited about us turning 21. And Stan turned 21 the day before me. So all of my friends went and got drunk with him, and nobody came to my birthday. Everybody was hungover. They were all just like, oh, fuck,
hungover from the night before.
Yeah.
Like, we fucked up with Stanimal.
Stan still showed up, and he bought me my first drink, being 21. We went to the casino, and then right at midnight he bought me a drink, and then myself and my buddy Rob just went straight down to California. We're like, fuck it, let's go, and just took a fucking drive down to California, drove through the night just for that fucking on a whim.
Nice.
Yeah,
I've done the same thing going to Vegas. We're like, we're just gonna go to Vegas and just fucking
let's just go.
Just fucking go.
I don't even know where we stayed. I think we stayed with Kevin, maybe Kevin or David. That's normally what. I'm like, hey David, can I stay? And I gotta listen to his mom. Like, hey, how long is he staying for? And I'm like, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. Don't worry, I don't feel uncomfortable. Yeah, so we drove down there and stayed there, and that's the thing. There's like a circle of people that I still talk to that I've known for fucking 11 years now since I moved out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have a kind of a new subject or talking point that I came up with Tom Stevens.
Let's hear it.
It's close calls.
Like almost dying?
Yeah.
Where to start? Shit. All right. I mean, I'm gonna not talk about the times I've been like threatened or like,
yeah, you don't have
like
to do
somebody. I'm not talking about the times I've almost been murdered. I'll talk about times I've almost died. So So I mean, three of them actually were car. I should stay out of a fucking car. Holy shit. So first one was 666. I was driving up, I think it's Lincoln, towards the Anaheim Stadium, the Angel Stadium.
Oh, okay.
And somebody pulled out. I pulled out one way, they pulled out a different way, and they were about to hit another car, so they swerved out of the way right into me. And they were going straight from, because I saw the whole thing, right? They're going straight from my fucking front door, and then last second they just and turn and hit the front of my car, spin my car in a circle, and then I mean, I couldn't even limp my car back to the fucking parking lot that I came out of. But it was just like this weird thing where we both were on opposite sides of the street and both like turned out at the same time. But I went into the turning lane. They tried going into the regular street, and didn't see another car, so swerved out of it and came back and hit me. That one wasn't too bad. Another one was when I was moving to Austin, Texas, lived there for a couple of years. And on my way out there, my back tire on my driver's side blew out, and I spun on the freeway. So going like full speed on the freeway, I spun from, so I started feeling like, you know, and you've got to make that decision. You're like, is that the road or is that, you know, my car? So I start slowing down. I was probably going like 80, and then I slow down probably to like 65, and I go all the way over to the slow lane from the fast lane, and then my tire gives out, and then I go all the way back to the fast lane facing forward, you know, facing oncoming traffic. And then I just remember spinning around more and then looking out my passenger window, and I see this huge semi coming right at us. Shit. And then without even, I don't know how I did it, but I just put it in reverse. I didn't look behind me. I just put it in reverse and went back, and then like all these vehicles just went right by me. And luckily it was like one of the only places that had like no center divider and had like dirt in between the roads too. But yeah, so that happened. Shit, flipping the car with Ricky. Not even that long ago, we rolled the vehicle over on my side. My window was broken. My head was like right next to the window, but I hit the stand that holds your seatbelt instead. Yeah, I got a ton of them, man. Actually, there's one more coming back from Seattle. It was when I first moved out here. You know, I'm not used to snow or anything. My tire chains pop, and it's like the whole way, right? So the faster you go, it's just even louder and crazier. So we get to where we could finally see the road, and then I hit black ice and did a full circle on the highway there. So jeez. Crazy, man. I need to stay away from cars. That's gonna be my demise. But yeah, I think that's it. I mean, like I said, there's been times where I've been threatened, and you know, people with weapons and shit like that, but I really think that's a close call. I'm pretty good at talking my way out of situations, but I can't talk my way out of a car accident.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to do.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that's actually pretty intense. It's a lot of crazy car accident stories.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts.
Fucking A.
What did I do? I can't even let someone else drive me. That's what happened with Ricky. That was worse. That was worse than me in control. Both times where I had control, I was okay.
Were you alone those other times?
No, so I was with Jacob's mom on 666. The one out on the way out to Austin, Texas, I was with that girl that I dated when I was 10 years old. That's when we got back together. And I was with her. And then what other one did I talk about?
You talked about the
one rolling with Ricky where she was driving. Oh, Ricky. And then the one on the Snoqualmie Pass. Yeah. I had the kids with me actually. So I went over to Seattle to SeaTac to pick them up because they flew into Seattle instead of Spokane. And then I had the kids, man. And that shit was like slow motion. The whole thing was slow motion. But I remember just being like, I'm so fucking happy that I played like arcade racing games, because when you lose control of the vehicle, that's like exactly what it was like, man. Like I started spinning, and I looked out my passenger window going straight down the road. So I corrected, and then I kind of overcorrected, but I still followed as I was overcorrecting, looking out my window, and then managed to like, you know, straighten it out. And I was like bouncing between brakes and acceleration to try to straighten it out. And it was just like swung all the way one way, all the way back, and then just like kind of wiggled forward, and then went over and was like, okay, got to put the chains back on. And you know what I mean? It was like I'm fucking. We all could have died, man. All of us. It was nuts.
Jesus.
Yeah. That had to have been the scariest one because I was like, fuck, dude. Like,
Yeah, because the whole
kill my kids right now. Yeah.
Fuck, man. We're gonna move into the big subject of the show, a life experience or a story that made you the person you are today.
Oh shit! What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? I don't know. I mean, I feel like all of them kind of did, man. I mean,
is there possibly one that sticks out more than the rest, or
I don't know. I feel like honestly, a job that I took is why I am how I am today. I took a position, so I was always the person, like, I wouldn't really speak in front of groups. I was always like in my head about other people's perception of me and shit like that. And then I took a role that I was really excited about, like teaching, like facilitating. And it required me to do a complete personality flip. Like I had to be comfortable with it. And I had to make that decision to just be like, all right, I'm going to be this person. I'm going to fake it, but I'm going to be this person. And so I did that, man. I just became like this outgoing person and changed my entire life basically that way. Like I would have never started podcasting had I not had that job. Not once. I was living in Las Vegas and I was writing down all these stand-up jokes, and I was so afraid to go up on stage that I would write them for Stan, and Stan would go deliver my jokes because I was just so fucking, I don't know. I was just so in my head about it. And it's always something I wanted to do, but I couldn't gather myself to do it. Like I wouldn't do fucking karaoke. Like no matter how drunk I was, it was just me. That was just how I was. So I had to just decide to be this person. And day one, when we moved out here to Spokane, I was just like, I am this new person starting today. And then I just fucking did it, but part of it is kind of like what you talked about earlier, my work ethic, where I'm just like, I can't fail at anything. So this is what I signed up for. This is the thing I have to do to be good at it. So that's what I did.
Nice. Kind of like a little bit like that fake it till you make it mentality,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. My ex-wife didn't really make it after she was faking it so often, but whatever. I'm just kidding. I got to make stupid jokes all the time. You know me. But yeah, one funny thing I want to talk about real quick is I want to jump back. Remember there's one time where Pierce and I were getting into a fight with two other brothers that lived in our little apartment complex. And Pierce was like, we made this agreement. I don't even know how. It was like Avengers, where they start on this side and just kind of run at each other. But we made this agreement to, like, we knew we were about to fight each other. So we kind of run at each other. This kid starts chasing Pierce, and Pierce just starts running away. And then his older brother runs at me, and I punch him in the face. So he falls down. He starts bleeding, right? Mm-hmm. Like out of his nose, just fucking bleeding everywhere. And then I look over, and there's this little gate on the swivel. All it is just a gate. You could like go on it and like ride the gate in a circle. I don't fucking know what it was. It was a toy at a apartment complex for poor people, I guess. That's what we do. We swing on gates. But Pierce ran right past the gate and then swung it and hit this kid in the kneecap and just fucking destroyed his knee. And he's down. So both of these brothers are like down on the floor crying. And Pierce had to use his brain to do it. He didn't want to he just had to walk him into this little, trap that he had set. So we go into our house, and then, we go and like fucking hide in our room, pretend nothing happened here, and then we hear this like loud ass fucking pounding on our door. So my mom goes to answer, and she's like, who the fuck are you like immediately, like, who the fuck are you pounding on my door? And she's like, your kids, blah 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 blah. She's like, you don't fucking tell me what to do about my mom was about to beat their mom up too. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And then like I was like hiding behind my mom, but yeah, my mom was like, don't fucking talk about my kids like that, your kids, blah blah blah. And like, was just like all up in this lady's face. And then of course when my mom closed the door, she was like screaming at us. I was like, what happened to that? You were just telling her to mind her own business. Yeah, you know what I mean? But she was like, no, you're not fucking getting away with that shit, you little dickhead. But yeah, that was me, man, for a really long time, dude. Fucking fights all the time. Even honestly, I could tell you I haven't been in a fight since I've lived out here. That's the most recent it's been. And I could say the majority of the reason is because number one, I don't really hang out with the people that I used to hang out with. But number two, I don't leave the house. Like I'm always at home. So I don't really have a reason to do it, I guess. But really all my fights were mostly, it's not like I don't have a big ego or anything. So like people talk shit about me and I'm not really going to do anything about it. But if you talk shit about my family or people I'm close to, that's when it's like done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it was. Like it's always like the people I'm with, they get into something and then I have to fucking clean it up.
It's the mess.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense. Fucking Pierce with the gate swing.
I know, right? Coming in clutch. I feel bad because Pierce moved away when he was probably 10 years old. I mean, it doesn't really seem, it seems like we're like real close, but there was a lot of time where we didn't even see each other or talk to each other. And I always feel bad thinking about it, like, fuck, I kind of fucking, was mean to him. Like, I used to call him all these stupid names and, like hit him and shit like that. But you don't really think, I mean, you still, were living with Matt, I think, when I was still living in California. So it's kind of different. You don't think your brother's going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be an asshole. This motherfucker's not going anywhere, but you never know. He's fucking 10 years old and he's gone. You don't fucking see him for years. So I felt bad about it. I'm like, man, I shouldn't have beat up my brother so much. And me and my sister always fought too all the time. Like we would, my dad lived in Victorville and we lived in Anaheim, and we would drive. My dad would make that drive every single day from Victorville to Anaheim. It's like halfway to Las Vegas. He would drive it every day. Gridlocked, it would take 4 hours easy. Right. And Jessica and I would go up there and I'd sit in the front seat. She'd be like pulling my hair and I'd fucking grab the recliner part and just like smash her with my chair. Like we were just assholes the entire fucking trip up to Victorville every single time. But that was just it was like, a kid dynamic, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really, did you and Matt fight a lot? I don't really see you guys being too like aggressive.
If anything, I was the bully for sure. Let me see. One time, this was an accident, but Matthew has a scar on his lip because of it. So like we were outside and we were just fucking around. He's running around the yard, and I grabbed the water hose, and it has like those old like half metal, half plastic, nozzles on it.
Yeah, at the end of it,
the different settings and whatnot.
Yeah,
and I don't know why he's just running around, and I'm just swinging it around. Like I had no intention of hitting him with it. I was just swinging it, swinging it left and right. And he runs right in front of me, and right as I'm swinging over, catches him right on the lip. So
no way.
Busts his lip open. He's bleeding all over the fucking place, and he now has a scar there.
Damn.
Yeah, I felt so bad. I still feel bad to this day that he has a scar.
So I kind of have a similar experience to that. One time we were like me, Nick, Jessica, and Kenny were kind of like standing in a circle fighting each other. I really don't know how it worked. I don't remember that well, but at one point in time, I went to kick somebody and Kenny got pushed down to the ground and I kicked him in his fucking mouth and chipped his tooth. And to this day, he still has the tooth chip that I kicked him in the mouth and chipped it. I feel bad about it, but it was an accident.
It happens, man. We play and then like we get a little too wild and aggressive, and then
yeah. Kenny was super accident prone though. Like I busted his head open before. We were at Supercuts, and honestly, I haven't really thought about this in years, but we were at Supercuts and we were playing this game where he would like put his hands on my hands and I'd put my feet on him, like lift him up kind of. And we could have been more than like 5 years old at the time. Or like 4 and 5 respectively. Right. So I did it, lifted him up too high and he hit a pole and busted his forehead open. And I remember the ambulance like took him and shit. Had to give him stitches. But it was in the super. My dad was getting his hair cut, and all of a sudden Kenny's fucking bleeding. Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, sorry. Yeah, dude. But he fell off the top bunk bed, broke his arm. There was a time where we had like big 2x4s. I don't know. They were for like pre-fencing, but we never had fencing in our backyard. We had fencing around it, but it was like in our backyard. And we used to put these other 2x4s on top of it, and we would balance and walk across it. Well, one day it slipped out from under him, and he just went chest first right into the beam. Just like, yeah.
Fuck.
Shit used to happen to him like that all the time, man. But
Jesus.
I freaking busted my head open once. I was walking backwards in school. We were in line, and I was walking backwards talking to somebody, and I grabbed the book that I asked them to hold, and I turned around and just walked right into a beam, split my head open. And then the day I got my stitches out, I split my head open again. We were we were playing where you link each other's hands and somebody's the leader and you just follow. Well,
Yeah.
I was doing that, and I went into a seesaw, ran right into a seesaw.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Just my luck. And I remember back then, we went into the house, I guess, and Jessica got butterfly bandages, and she pinched it together and she like bandaged it. And because she did that, I was able to get skin glue instead of stitches.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and I remember my mom saying like she's gonna fucking be a doctor one of these days. She's a nurse now, but still, that's what she wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like she could still be a doctor, but she decided to be a nurse. And yeah, we knew it ever since we were little. We're like, she cares for people. She thinks on her toes and doesn't freak out. You know what I mean? And yeah,
That's good. That's really good. Yeah.
Yep. Crazy. That was a crazy place, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, look, I could bore you with stories of fights and stories of injuries all day long, but I don't know. Do you have any other questions? Any other comments? What we got?
No, man, we basically covered everything. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
good.
yeah, we covered
Yeah,
everything.
well,
More fights and stuff another day if you want.
maybe. Yeah, I mean that didn't really define me, but it defined me for a long time. That was me. I was like the hot-headed person, you know what I mean, who would think out of or act out of impulse instead of thought. It took me a long time to kind of be comfortable with just being relaxed, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, good stuff. I got a good relationship with my siblings though, even though we didn't really live together for a long time. We're still like super fucking close. So.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think it's really good. All right. Well, what would you like? Do you have any projects you want to plug? And that's
Fuck yeah, I do.
No, you do. You have a fuck up.
All right. So you know about my newer show, Scuba Guys. We just released our fourth episode, Back to the Future. It's me and my buddy Chris, and we deep dive into movies, talking about a lot more than what it is. So we got a good structure to where one of us, so if I choose the movie, Chris, all he has to do is watch it. And when he watches it, he just outlines the plot, what happens throughout the entire movie. And then I do all of this research about all the actors in it, behind the scenes, who was considered for the role, what the possible names for the movie could have been, all of that stuff, fun trivia, just stuff that we add to it. And then we do the show, and then the next week, another person picks it. So that's a show that I'm really excited about. We've been gaining a lot of traction, a lot of people listening to it. It's audio only, so you have to catch it only on like iTunes, Spotify, all that type of stuff. And then of course, Speakeasy Gentlemen, the show that you're on with me. Wait, wrong way.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even talk about starting that, but we started in like 2017, and we're still running strong. So it honestly started as an excuse for me to just talk to my friends and my brother every week. Block time out just to spend time together. So yeah, we do that every Thursday at 8, and closing up on our 100th episode. Super excited about that.
It's gonna be so much fun. Can't wait.
Yeah. I've been planning on starting a new project. I'm kind of in between a couple, but honestly, I probably shouldn't overwhelm myself, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm a workaholic. So this is just fun work instead of the other kind.
This is the best thing is like this is like it's like fun passion projects.
Yeah, it's an obligation, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, fuck, I forgot to do this, and you start panicking, but
And you're like, oh yeah, I'm not getting paid for it right now. So
yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
yeah. I did the same thing. Like I did some like recording with Jesse, and then I haven't had time to edit, and because I had to send this like recipe video over to Jamie Westwood, and I got swamped with all the Prime Day stuff, so I hadn't had a chance to edit it. And I'm like, well, you have to wait.
Yeah, you spent a shit ton of money, didn't you?
I didn't. Oh,
How much did you spend
on Prime
on
Day?
Prime Day? How much did you spend?
About $1,000.
Oh, okay, that's not terrible. I thought it was multiple thousands. I must have misunderstood you, but that's still pretty. I mean, that's still a lot. I think I spent like $60.
Yeah.
I now have an Echo in every single room. At least I have an Echo Show or an Echo Dot. But yeah, I wasn't doing that much. I wasn't really searching though.
Free.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking like crazy. I was just like, let's find a couple things for the kids.
Yeah, but I know David like really hates Jeff Bezos.
You mentioned this David guy again, and I still have no fucking clue who you're talking about.
Short guy, glasses, beard, thinks he's Captain Jack Sparrow.
I think I've seen him on the side of the highway before.
He's definitely.
I threw a doubloon at him. I was like, "Hey, here you go. Here's your doubloon."
Oh man, this has been really fun, man. Thank you for being on.
I think so. Thanks, man. Really like your show. Can't wait for you to be audio so I could listen, because you didn't give me your YouTube subscription, so I can't shut my phone off. I got a fucking iPhone, right? So when I had a Samsung, it was easy. I could just play YouTube and shut the screen off and still listen to it. I can't do that with my iPhone. So give me your subscription or go audio only. Either way, just make me happy. Fuck everybody else.
I'm probably gonna upload everything to Anchor. Should be before the next episode on Thursday. Hopefully.
Sounds good.
So yeah, everything should be going to Anchor by then. I just have to splice some of the old episodes, the audio.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, man. Well, this has been pretty awesome. Thank everybody for listening to That's My Story. I'm your host, George Lugo.
Oh yeah, subscribe and share George Lugo's podcast. That's My Story.
Yeah. Thanks for watching That's My Story. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Feedback is very important. See you next time.